It's noon here in Washington, D.C., and this is CarEdge Live for Monday, June 23rd with your hosts, me, Noisy Ray, and Zach, not so noisy.
Well, it's just people, different mic level. Anyway, all right, happy Monday, y'all, June 23rd. Grateful to be with you here. We've got a new sponsor for today's program, the fine folks over at Chapter, link in the top of the description down below. We're going to be talking about them. Can you please, when we do the show, put your phone on silent? Can you please?
Apparently, I've been a bad boy.
You're on Zillow now.
Don't ask me how I got there. You're the one that says it's got to be on silent.
All right, phones on silent. Here we go, folks. We got a new sponsor for today's show, the fine folks over at Chapter. We'll be talking about them in about 5 minutes. Before that, a friendly reminder, CarEdge.com. Car buying without the headache, Dad. Check out our website if we can help you out with anything. We'd be thrilled to do it. Buying a car, selling a car, doing research, everything in between. We can assist you. Now, the big story.
So if I understand this correctly, if I go to CarEdge.com and take care of my headache right about now, I love it.
Fantastic. Now, the big story this morning.
Yes.
Toyota is increasing. They're increasing their prices here in the United States of America by $270 in July, a $208 price increase coming for Lexus. Dad, what is unthinkable here is, weren't we supposed to see car prices go up by $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000? How is Toyota and Lexus, how are they getting by with just a $270 price increase?
Guess it's not really a big story. It's a small story.
It's an insane story, honestly.
It is almost as if you have to say to yourself, why bother to raise the price at all? If you're only going to raise the price $208 on your average Lexus and $270 on your average Toyota, why raise it at all? And obviously they're saying it has nothing to do with the tariffs. It's just, we're readjusting our prices for the market. So it seems like a relatively minor price increase. Could it be a precursor of something larger down the road? I guess we have to give it time. We know that at this point that whatever negotiations took place in Canada between the Japanese government and the Trump administration when they were at the G7 meetings didn't end with any type of agreement.
Yep.
So is this a placeholder to a certain degree to see what happens? I don't know.
It is fascinating though, Dad, because Subaru, for example, another Japanese automaker, they've actually increased their prices $750 to $2,055 across certain vehicles, the Forester, Outback, and Ascent. But again, Toyota is doing just a blanket $270. And let's go through this, Dad. So starting in July, there will be that $270 on average price increases. And you can see here, quote, the latest price hike is part of our regular review of vehicle prices, Toyota spokesperson Nobu Tsunaga said on June 21st. And you can see here for Lexus, it's going to be a $208 price increase. So again, other automakers have increased their prices significantly more. Even Mitsubishi, Dad, increased their prices by 2.1%. And if I'm not mistaken, here's obviously the Subaru notes here. Ford have also increased their prices, and we've seen other automakers increase their prices more significantly. How can Toyota, of all brands, the most popular brand, get away with the smallest price increases?
Well, here's how. At least up until this month, Toyota sales were strong as could be.
Sure.
Pretty much probably 95% of all incoming inventory was pre-sold.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't take a lot of inducement through incentives when your product is that insanely popular. Perhaps with a minor price increase, we will see Toyota's incentives go down even further, so that they won't be pouring as much money into the incentives to move the metal. Therefore, if they cut back on incentive spend, then it means they don't have to increase the MSRPs as dramatically as some of the other brands.
Yeah, that could be one of the levers that they're pulling. You can see here, Igor, I think, agrees with you. Incentives also got cut and subvented rates are going up from lower rates. So, okay, so we're seeing smaller price increases.
Yes.
But maybe fewer incentives.
And so ultimately, even though there's smaller price increases, ultimately the total price paid will be significantly higher than that $270 because they won't be subsidizing the interest rate as much, or they won't be spending as many marketing dollars on incentives. So ultimately, as the consumer, you're going to pay way more than that $270.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. We had actually covered just I think it was last week, Car Gurus had put out the report of vehicles who have seen their prices go up the most and the least post tariff. And I mean, there are some vehicles out there. Subaru had some on that list, but there are some vehicles, I'm thinking of like the Audi Q5 has seen its price go up significantly, but other manufacturers seemingly bucking the trend. And I think you're helping us kind of pull the curtain back and say, yeah, they're bucking the trend from an MSRP perspective, but watch out for those incentives. They're not necessarily going to be as strong as they were pre-pandemic. And we've already seen this a little bit with Ford. Ford not only have increased and decreased for certain trim levels of the Bronco Raptor MSRPs, they've also obviously leaned into employee pricing for all while slashing incentive spending. The deal you're getting on a Ford today is not necessarily as good of a deal as you've gotten on a Ford 6 months ago pre-employee pricing. So we've already seen some examples of this charades of like, hey, look over here, the prices haven't increased that much. But okay, over here, we got rid of the incentives.
Yeah, the ultimate amount being spent will be significantly higher than that $270 price increase. It's just, I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. But not every brand is in the same position that Toyota and Lexus have been.
Here was that data from Car Gurus. I'll pull it back up on the screen, and then we'll spend a minute on our new partner chapter. Corvette and luxury SUVs see the biggest price increases. These are the vehicles who have seen their average listing prices go up the most since tariffs went into effect. And you can see the Corvette, which obviously it's a new vehicle, it's a specialty vehicle. Some of the parts obviously are going to be made, or brought in from foreign countries.
The main reason is that it's the new model, and so that's impacting that price more than anything.
But Q5, Subaru Forester, the Mercedes, BMWs, Volkswagens on this list, these are all the result of tariff price increases. And then you look over here at Toyota's headline, $270. That is the unthinkable aspect of this, is they're getting away $270. But again,
let's see what happens. And the reason I say let's see what happens is our dear friend Igor shared some information with us in that even Toyota dealers in the month of June so far are seeing sales way below what they expected. So if there's a sales slowdown and it even impacts Toyota, then perhaps Toyota is going to have to increase the incentives moving forward. We'll see. I have no idea, but they and I believe Honda, even those brands are struggling a little bit this month. So, I mean, we expect a summer slowdown in sales. Obviously, increases in MSRPs for various brands will contribute to that, but let's see what happens going into July and August.
Absolutely. All right, Dad. Yeah. We got to take a moment. We got a new sponsor for the channel.
Yes.
All right. You ready? Wait, let's just show everyone. New read, folks. We got 3 pages.
Well, yeah, but it's big print because this is for older people.
This is for older people. Go for it, Pop.
I want to share something a little different with you today, everybody.
No, you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard. We're just normal.
We're just having a normal conversation. So, I want to share something a little different with you. Something that just might help you finally be able to afford that dream car you've had your eyes on.
All right, love it.
Not to play up my age, but as you know, I'm 74. I've been on Medicare for quite some time now.
When did you get on Medicare?
8 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So as I meant it when I said it, we believe in truth in advertising. So I've been on Medicare for 8 years now. And I'm a deal guy. I'm a deal guy. We sit here every day, we tell people how to save money, and here I am. It turns out, I thought I had a great deal on my supplemental Medicare insurance, and as it turns out, I was paying way too much. Okay. I called our friends at Chapter,
Yeah.
had a nice conversation with them. And after that conversation, we have found comparable insurance because all the insurances are the same. It's just the rates are different. And we found comparable insurance that just now is saving me $90 a month. Ultimately, when everything's all said and done, moving forward, I'll be saving like over $1,500 a year in my insurance premiums. Now, I get to see the same doctors, I have the same coverage, but I have a lot more money in my pocket.
Page 2, folks. We're on page 2 of the ad read. Let's go.
How did we do that? Well, there's a company called Chapter. And in one simple, and it is a simple 30-minute phone call, they basically undid years of my Medicare mistakes. And honestly, I wish I had called them sooner. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
Here's what makes Chapter different. They search every single Medicare plan nationwide, not just the ones that pay them the most, to find the best plan for you. And they do it for free. So if you're turning 65, or if you're already on Medicare like me, don't wait. The longer you go without contacting Chapter,
page 3,
having them review your plan, the more money you're probably wasting like I was. So do what I wish I did years ago. Call Chapter today at 557-207-0445. You'll talk to a real human being, not me, but a real one, who actually puts your needs first. Or visit askchapter.org/CarEdge to learn more.
All right, so we need. Nice job, Dad.
Well,
that was an ad read.
I could do better.
We got an oy vey from Charlie's Hamburgers.
Yes.
Hey, anyway, though, legitimately, they reached out to us. I said, sounds too good to be true. They got in touch with my dad. He used it. He saved money. So anyway, check it out.
And here's the wonderful thing about it. I mean, we help people buy cars. I don't care if you use the savings to buy that dream car of yours.
Yeah.
I'm using the savings, and that money is going to go into my granddaughter's 529 education account.
There you go.
And so I hope to God, by the time I'm dead and she's time to go to college, she'll have enough to go to the most overpriced college or university in North America. I mean, that's my plan.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, folks, check it out. Thank you, Chapter, for sponsoring us. You're going to hear their name a few more times over the coming weeks as we see if it's a valuable partnership for us and for them. Yeah, let's come here from Matthew, and then we're going to switch gears. Thank you, Matthew. Average doesn't mean across the board. Bet on Land Cruisers and 4Runners are having a bigger price hike than Corollas and Tundras. They'll use pricing power where they can. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Oh, absolutely.
They've got these vehicles. Again, if we look at the Car Gurus data, let me pull it back up on the screen. There is a Toyota on this list that has seen its average listing price go up over $5,000 in the past 2 months. It's a Land Cruiser. Hot. People want to get their hands on it. So yeah, maybe we will see Toyota not spread that $270 in price increase average.
Yeah, I think it, a $270 average price increase makes a nicer headline than price increases up to $5,000.
Yeah. It's a much better headline.
It is. Yeah.
All right. One final thing on Chapter here. I'm sorry, but I never buy anything YouTubers promote. Super fair. This is just, it helps keep the lights on here, and it's something you actually use. So
if you don't want to, don't. If there are, do you ever buy anything that you've ever seen advertised on a sporting event or any TV show you've ever watched? It's the same thing. Okay. The truth be told, Chapter came to us because, I hate to break it to the folks out there, your demographic matches their customer base. So it's old farts like me, okay, that watch this. Yeah, so if you're one of us, save some money. Do yourself the favor.
All right. So last week, we talked about all this good news because we had magnets and we had rare earth minerals coming back from China. We had a deal with China to make sure that there was going to be no disruption to the auto industry. You get a headline in Automotive News this morning. Trump pledge of quick China magnet flows has yet to materialize. So there's some very meaningful concerns.
The magnets are stuck.
The magnets are stuck. So for those of you that haven't been paying attention at home, there's the potential for a bigger crisis than the chip shortage we faced, 4 years ago? And that potential crisis is rare earth minerals that are used as components to producing vehicles China has
and not just vehicles,
yeah, but
most electronics.
For our world, vehicles.
Yeah.
And China has a monopoly over that market. And in
At
lieu
the moment.
of, and in lieu of a trade deal, the auto industry was thinking we could be going without producing millions of vehicles potentially this year. A deal was reached supposedly about 12 days ago now. Yet there have been very few shipments of these materials actually coming through. So I think there's some concern, Dad, both in terms of actual ability to produce vehicles, and the other headline that I thought was relevant to bring up was that the retail sales in the United States, auto and broader retail, were actually revised down month over month. So you can see here, total retail sales fell 0.9% month over month, following a downwardly revised 0.1% decline in April.
It was revised in May as well?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm bringing that up because you've got kind of two punches here that the auto industry is facing. You've got the rare earth materials. I don't think we're actually out of the woods there yet. And you have revisions downward in terms of consumer demand and willingness to actually go buy these expensive products.
And I just have to believe, and I'm not trying to make this political at all, but with what's going on in the world at the moment, I would think that'll stop even more people in their tracks when it comes to thinking about making expensive purchases.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because we just don't know what's going on, or where we're headed. So, you know, there's more fear and uncertainty, and when we face more fear and uncertainty, then there's a stronger likelihood we ain't parting with our money.
Yeah.
And if we're not parting with our money, that impacts sales. Excuse me. What the hell's going on here?
Having a rough day, man. You did a 7-minute ad read. You got a frog in your throat.
Maybe they can help me with the frog.
Yeah, we need a sponsor for the frog in my dad's throat.
Yeah. Can we get Kermit to sponsor the show?
All right. You want to switch gears to something a little more lighthearted?
Yes. And this with the article. Well, pull it up. Come on, pull, because this is exciting for me. Did you see recently the average age for a new Rolls-Royce Spectre owner is just 35? Now, the last time I checked, you're about to turn 30.
Yeah, my birthday is in July.
So my hope is that 5 years from now, you're chauffeuring me around in a whole new Rolls, you know, in your second car.
What does this say about the state of the auto industry, Dad? I appreciate you saying I'm going to be exuberantly wealthy in 5 years. I would never. Whatever. Yeah. I'm not buying a Rolls Royce. I'm not interested in that. But what does this say about the state of the auto industry?
I don't know what it says about the state of the auto industry as it says about the state of society. That 35-year-olds on average feel compelled to have to drive around on a Rolls Royce. You know, when certainly like a Kia could do.
I don't think people are cross-shopping Kias and Rolls Royces.
Maybe they should.
In what world do you think people are cross-shopping Kias
No
and
world.
Rolls
But my point is that even if you've been successful by the age of 35, do you really need to display that success every time you get into and out of your automobile when you drive somewhere? Would you be doing yourself and the rest of society, I can't even speak today, and the rest of society, are you doing them a disservice when you just feel so compelled to show off your wealth? It just, you know, shouldn't you be a tad bit more secure in who you are than to have to overpay for automotive transportation to get from point A to point B?
I had a slightly different read on this.
Okay, you tell me your read. I'm listening.
I think it continues to indicate the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
So, for example, we have a day's supply for used $15,000 and under vehicles. That is, I think it's 12 days lower than it is the nationwide average.
I think it was around 30 days.
30 days, and the industry average is like 42, something like that. And for those of you that don't remember, days supply is an indication of how long it would take to turn inventory. The higher the number, the more oversupplied things are. The lower the number, the more in demand they are.
Yes.
So you've got a real crunch on demand and a lack of supply at under $15,000. Those are the majority of consumers.
Yes.
And then you have Rolls-Royce coming out with a Spectre, their electric vehicle, and they're able to sell these things flying off the lot to 35-year-olds, it indicates the haves and the have-nots. So
Yeah.
I appreciate your psychoanalysis of someone who's 35 buying a Rolls Royce. We can have that conversation if you'd like. I think the more poignant component of this is it really does double down on, and we heard this a little bit when we spoke to the gentleman from Ram who called us.
Yes.
He was talking about how they haven't found the high water mark for truck prices. This is Rolls-Royce saying, we haven't found the high water. If our average customer is 35, imagine what we could be charging a customer who's 65, who's had even more years.
Well,
all the while,
and
people just want to find an under $15,000 used car.
Yeah, but if you're Rolls-Royce, think about this. If you are bringing your customers in for the first time at 35, as opposed to 55 or 65, think of how many more cars you're going to be able to sell them in their lifetime.
And think about the other story that we haven't even touched on yet today, which is robo-taxis from Tesla in Austin, Texas. There's a world, Dad, and we've seen stagnation in car sales for what, 50 years now?
Yes.
There's a real legitimate world where cars just become a true luxury item. Think about it. And for those people who want an under $15,000 used car, maybe they end up in a couple of years, maybe 5 years, a decade, whatever it is, instead just driving robo-taxis and Waymos to get from point A to point B, or using public transportation, obviously. But maybe that becomes the mode of transportation. And then these automakers, who do they serve? Those who have abundance of wealth.
Yes.
Again, we see it with Ram coming out with the Tungsten Edition, Rolls-Royce with the Spectre, Ford with the Bronco Raptors. Like, maybe this is an early indication of what the auto industry looks like in America a couple decades from now. Think about that.
Are there going to be robo-taxis in rural America?
Eventually.
Really?
Yeah, look at like the adoption curve of Waymo. I think they're outpacing Uber and Lyft for rides now in San Francisco. And it was like, once you get it, it's like software. It's like anything. Like, once you get it, then it scales. And so I think it would be misplaced thought to assume that these companies who make money off of investing in these things will not ultimately figure out how to service the whole United States, or maybe they'll determine that there are some regions where it's not cost efficient to do so. But I totally, when I look at this headline, I can just totally see that the future of the United States and owning a car is explicitly for the elite, and it's a status symbol, and everyone else just jumps in a robo-taxi or a Waymo. I can totally start to see that world.
Oh my God. I don't know that I want to live in that world.
I'm not saying we necessarily have to qualify living in or out, but like,
no, that's,
I can see it.
Yeah. There must have been a time before automobiles and just horses, and not everybody could afford a horse.
Yeah.
Okay. And I get it. But I
think about it for a second. We do all the research on cost of ownership.
Yes.
Okay, let's say I'm one of the lucky few that can find a quality sub $15,000 used car.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, great. My monthly payment on that, I'm prudent. I'm going to do a 36-month loan. Oh, and it's an extra $200 a month for insurance. I mean, eventually, as these other options become more commonplace, I'm just going to look at it and be like, would I rather pay that, own it, or finance it, own all the repairs on it, or just take a robo-taxi to get to work? And again, the area where we're seeing growth in the auto industry, and the area where the auto industry also sees massive amounts of profit. Rolls-Royce makes a poop ton of money when they sell a Spectre.
I'm pretty sure.
And they make a poop ton of lifetime value on a 35-year-old customer.
Yeah.
To your point earlier, they're going to buy more Rolls-Royces.
Yeah. Well, assuming they do it right.
I don't know, man. I can see how this happens, how the world just evolves. To your point, before everyone owned a horse, some people couldn't.
Well, no, I get it. The world evolves. And
there's nothing, Francis, this isn't woke, man. I'm not trying. There's nothing woke about this. This is just the reality of like seeing these moving pieces on the chessboard. And I'm talking about like a decade from now. I'm not talking next week.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we
the average age of a Rolls Royce customer is 35. What does that tell you?
Spectre customer.
Yeah, what does that tell you?
Well, I told you what I thought it told me. I appreciate what you think it tells you. I think it's a shame that we're in a position where mentally people are so weak that they have to flaunt what it is that they have.
Yeah,
just be secure enough in who you are to be able to get by. With what I mean, look at you. You were, well, I don't know. This is probably an overpriced T-shirt, but you can get by just wearing like a regular LL Bean T-shirt like I wear. it doesn't have to be expensive stuff, but God, I don't know. I don't know that I want to live in a world of robo taxis and Waymos. Perhaps I will. Perhaps I'll see value in that. I know just when I use Lyft and Uber, that the expense of that has gone up dramatically.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Okay,
it's cheaper to take a taxi.
It used to be cheaper to take Lyft and Uber, and today it's like the cost of these things to go next to nowhere is astronomical. So I think if more and more cars become more and more unaffordable, and there really is a bigger chasm between those who can and those who can't, then that means those of us who can't and have to rely on robo-taxis and Lyft and Uber, you better believe that the cost of all those things is going to get way, way higher than where it is today. And so it'll be hard for people to afford to get around using robo-taxis, Lyfts, and Ubers.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I look,
that's like a common playbook. You get lock-in and then you jack up the prices on things. These companies do it all the time. The point being,
yes,
you get an interesting dynamic of Rolls-Royce Spectre customers becoming younger. You've got young people wanting to extend themselves more to get into fancier vehicles. And at the same exact time, you have these upstart companies, Tesla and Google and Waymo, investing billions.
I saw a Waymo on the street.
There are Waymos. There are Waymos here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
there weren't 6 months ago.
Yeah.
No, they're driving around here, mapping it out. Like, there's some interesting dynamics at play. And at the same exact time, people who want to buy affordable vehicles who can't. We'll see what happens.
Just be prepared to pay way too much for whatever it is that's going to get you from point A to point B in the future.
Well, I don't think on day zero. Tesla's doing $4.20 because they're trying to troll people. So for the first couple of weeks here, you can get a cheap ride.
Just say. Come on, when I come here to DC and then I want to Uber to go to see Dara and her husband Zach, the amount of money I spend in Ubers and Lyfts for a weekend that I'm here is astronomical.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, well, folks, friendly reminder, back at CarEdge.com, you do not need to spend a lot of money to get our car buying help. We've got 20% off right now, CarEdge Insights, and 20% off our car buying services. That runs through the end of the month. So please, folks, check out CarEdge.com and let us help you out. Let's call it a show for today.
By the way, it did take my headache away.
Okay, I'm so glad to hear that. Let's call it a show for today.
Yes.
Let's get you back to New Jersey.
I think I would love that.
I know you would love that. We'll get you back to New Jersey.
Yes.
And we'll have you back in DC a month from now, I'm sure. And folks, we'll be back tomorrow with more CarEdge Live. Tune in at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Why are you sure? Just because your birthday's on the 22nd of July?
No, but I know in a month, like, you'll probably want to see your granddaughter.
More than likely.
All right, folks, we'll see you then.